My path was a more circuitous route to get to ultras and to long distance running. It involved a lot of exploring and wandering and pain and suffering, and which makes it that much more satisfying to be where I am at now. You know, when you wake up every day, you have an opportunity for a clean slate. So I want to really just embrace that and seize the moment and seize the opportunity to live now and to really maximize my potential. But also really just trying to be present and be in the now, and rather than being like fretting over the future or dwelling over the past. I think you find a lot of people that were addicted to substances that now are in the endurance sports world, and I think there's a kind of a soothing, it's like a soothing activity for your mind and body. I mean, I just jumped both feet first into this sport. You know, I was 25 years old and I had no direction, and I had a severe, messy habit. And I think that's what a lot of people do, is they have that doomsday mentality, and they can't see themselves getting out of this hole, and it's just so much easier to just numb out. For me, when I started doing trail running, I really connected with that. Like, the beautiful forest and single track of the Finger Lakes area of New York, I fell in love. Running those gorges, it was exhilarating. I started experiencing like, oh my gosh, I'm getting goosebumps. I feel so good, and like, I feel like so free. So I'm the oldest of three. I have a brother that's about 2.5 years younger than me, and then a sister another 2 years younger. I get along great with my siblings. We're very close to this day. My mother, trying to raise 3 kids by herself, she did an amazing job given the circumstances. I think I never really felt comfortable in my own skin. I started acting out quite a bit when I was middle school age. Started experimenting with alcohol. And so when my mother was trying to raise 3 kids by herself, and her oldest was missing in action and out all night without contacting her on a school night because I was like passed out drunk somewhere, it started getting to be a little bit too much, you know, for her to handle by herself. And so I ended up moving down to Orlando, Florida to live with my dad, who I hadn't seen for years. And so I ended up doing 10th, 11th, and 12th grade in Orlando, Florida. I always used to joke and say alcohol for me was the ketchup of life. I put it on everything. You know, you're going to a wedding, you're going to play basketball, you're going here, you're going there, you're gonna add some alcohol to that, and it's gonna make everything more colorful, it's gonna make everything more fun. Self-medicating through these substances worked for a little while, and then it stopped working. And my life was just really completely unmanageable for so many years.
Silverton is a mining town, and you know, it's kind of that tough, hard life kind of feel to it. Hardrock is a wilderness, high alpine mountain run that is one of a kind for North America. And it's rugged, it's wild, it's tough. It has 33,000 feet of climbing and descending. It goes to 14,000 feet, which is really, really high. If you don't know it, that 14.5 is the highest peak in the contiguous United States. It's the real deal. It's one of the hardest foot races in the world for sure.
All in all, it took me about 7 or 8 years of lotteries to get into Hardrock. We have a lottery party locally in Portland, and we have a tradition that if somebody in attendance gets chosen in the lotteries, that they come to the front and they sit in the air chair, and we all hoist them up in the air and cheer for them. And I got chosen. All right, yep, here we go. Going to get my number, 128.
The emergency button's underneath there.
Yeah.
It's already on.
One shot.
Hi folks, welcome back to Silverton at the Hardrock 100 2023. We are here with the Diboun family.
We're stoked to be here. My heart's racing a little bit just being here. It's surreal.
I'm really inspired by him. He's like my role model.
Aww. She'll probably run with me the last little segment to the rock here through town, which I'm really visualizing too and keeping that to get me through the potential dark moments and challenging moments. "63 minutes till start."
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be fun. Better redirect my mindset if I start going into a little bit of a dark place, Just reminding myself, we get to do this. I went to a wedding on July 10th of 2004, and this was kind of like the nail in the coffin. I went to this wedding reception with the intention of controlled drinking. An hour into the wedding or two, I was completely smashed, blacked out, and I was dropped off at my mom's home by my brother with no shoes, and he was disgusted and fed up and said, "I am not taking care of him anymore, you take him." And I remember overhearing him tell my mom all the things that I did at the reception. And I was just disgusted with myself because I don't remember doing any of those things. And my mom said, I am not helping you anymore unless you get professional help. I started really just methodically kind of like moving up a little bit. And I would pass a couple runners. And it didn't feel like I was overexerting, but I just kind of like was letting the terrain dictate how I moved. And I'm going through a meadow, probably somewhere around mile 30. And ironically, it wasn't a very technical section, but it was open, so I was like looking to see where we were going, and all of a sudden, I roll my ankle all the way over, felt some pops. As soon as I did it, I was like, that didn't just happen, I'm okay. As I'm climbing, the ankle is just screaming at me, throbbing, and I was a little bit fearful that I wasn't gonna be able to finish. I remember my Aunt Kathy telling me, you need to go to a meeting. I remember laying in bed just feeling so rough, and I'm just like, okay, I'm tapping out. Here I am walking with my mom and my aunt, I'm so embarrassed. And I walked into this group of people, and all of my preconceived notions about these people were completely wrong. Everybody there, they weren't even talking about my drinking. They were welcomed me in, and they were talking about their drinking and how they don't drink one day at a time and how they help each other. And I went into that meeting and my mind was blown. But my aunt was like, that's not enough. You need a rehab. And I packed up with my tail between my legs and entered a 28-day inpatient facility. And that was like one of the most difficult things I've ever done. I basically became open-minded and willing to change my life. My spirits were a little bit dampened by the ankle, and I was feeling it. And I think my crew could really tell that I was kind of a little down at that point. But I stopped, and they all took great care of me. Katie and Scott and James and Steven got me some food, got me some kombucha. They were asking if I wanted to tape it up and stuff like that. And I was just like, you know what? Let's just keep moving. And James and I took off up a big climb up a dirt road to Engineer Pass. And we had some of the most beautiful alpenglow sunsets that I've seen in quite a long time. And I felt like that was a turning point for me in the run, where I was like, I'm back.
Crunchy.
Oh my God. Wow. Scott did a great job pacing me. We laughed and we talked, and it went by really quickly. And eventually you get down to Chapman Aid Station at mile 84, which I knew I was going to pick up Steven as my final pacer. We started climbing up through some scree and rock where there really wasn't much of a trail. And we just are looking up at this wall thinking, how do we get over this thing? So we just decided to go straight up and over. And I was just like really like sticking my poles in, step, step, stick my poles in higher, step, and you know, part of me was just like, I hope my wife or mom don't see this at any point. As soon as we got up and over, we saw Island Lake, and you could see the single track ribbon trail going down, skirting next to it, and it was breathtaking.
Soak that in, man. Yeah.
Wow, dude. That is unreal. I've never seen anything like it, I don't think. That is the brightest blue. What? Okay. I was pretty delirious at that point, but I knew that we didn't have that many big climbs left. And we were now approaching single digits to the finish. One of the greatest feelings for me was like putting my poles away and stowing them in my back, knowing that all climbs are behind me and that it was pretty much all downhill and flat to the finish. These last 2 miles were really special because it was like, man, I did it. I'm back in Silverton. I visualized coming down into Silverton and having my daughter waiting for me to run the last half mile in with me. And we got down there and it was like this mirage coming into reality. And I see my beautiful daughter waiting for me, smiling. And we get in and I couldn't believe it, like manifested it. And I give her a big hug and I'm running with her down the streets of Silverton, half ugly crying. It was like a really special moment that I'll never forget. And coming into that chute is something I went over in my mind over and over again. And again, it was just surreal to be in this moment, coming in, kissing that rock and feeling that immense satisfaction of being a hard rocker. That's something that you can never take away from me. Oh my God. Welcome back, I'm a hard rocker. Yeah. Making that full loop through the San Juans, I also think about just the notion of coming full circle as a recovering alcoholic and addict and making that change in my life. And never would I thought that it would come full circle like this, to be finding this sport, this community, and having this kind of superhuman ability to be able to do this. It's a life beyond my wildest dreams. Someday we're not going to be able to do this stuff, and we're going to be sitting in our rocking chairs looking back on our lives, and we're going to be proud that we did this. And instead of wondering if we could have done it or saying I should have done it, we're going to be like, yeah, our bodies are all used up and we did that.
This here is an RV.
You're recording.